The cutscene for Black Ops 7 Zombies has leaked already. The conversations that take place within it, the characters that will be talking, and as you would expect, some pretty big spoilers for the story. It seems like this is just a common occurrence now with COD HQ. This has been posted all over Twitter, so if you're on there, there's no way of avoiding this really. And this isn't new. Of course Treyarch would want to hide this, so I'm assuming there is nothing they can do about it. Black Ops 7 hasn't even dropped yet, and from the beta we had the other day, it looks like people have gone into the game files and extracted this code. All because every COD is a part of Call of Duty HQ. It's a huge problem. Us, the consumers, don't like it. We don't want COD HQ. Call of Duty has only gotten worse since it's been introduced. I don't care if I've got to spend a few extra seconds booting up games separately. So this is all on the developers. And so what we're going to do in today's video is take a look at some really juicy storyline stuff and gameplay stuff that we've seen in these BO7 leaks. Of course, if you don't want to know about this, there will be spoilers, then click off the video now. Anyway, starting off with this, the full dialogue for one of the cutscenes, we don't know exactly which one in BO7 Zombies, has been leaked. We've already seen the intro cutscene, so it's not that. Apparently, according to one of the leakers, this is also not outro dialogue, leading him to believe it's some kind of mid-Easter egg cutscene, which in itself is good news. We should be having two cutscenes in Ashes of the Damned then, a mid and an ending one, as well as the intro. This was also leaked by Reality UK as well, but looking at what is said in this cutscene, bearing in mind we don't know the context behind this, what happens before, Carver starts by saying, "The Sentinel artifact. Damn you, Richtofen." He then says, "Speak for yourself. We do this all the damn time." That doesn't really make sense, right? It sounds like we've got some character dialogue missing between those two lines. But either way, continuing, Entity then says, "You're alive. I did not hope. I could not. Do not be alarmed. Quickly, he will feel my absence. You must listen. Each of you have encountered ... been touched by a great power. Something has left its mark on your beings. The warden of this place sensed it, sought you out, tore you from your dimensions, and drained you to take that essence for himself. While he has those parts of your souls, he has dominion over you. You cannot fight him any more than you can hope to return to your own worlds. To even try would be suicide. But, for all our sakes, he must be destroyed." The Entity then carries on saying, "There are others here, ancient denizens of the Dark Ether, Shadowsmiths. They too are bound to his will, augmenting his power. He forced them to harvest your essence, to refine it into the colostrum that sustains him. These beings cannot be killed, but destroy their bonds, free them from his control. Then they will return what they were made to steal. Find where the one that watches this place is imprisoned. I can guide your hands. Go. Go now." Maya then says, "What in the ever-living shit? If she says we're going to chuck a necklace into a volcano, I'm so out." Richtofen then says, "You will forgive me if I do not drop everything to do the bidding of a gigantic floating head." Takio then says, "For Yori, I don't know how you say that, but apparently it means ghost." And then the Entity continues on saying, "It is not safe to linger here. He will know his pet is gone. He will investigate. I have folded the Dark Ether, made a pocket in which you can hide. I will send you there." Grey then says, "On your feet, comrade. Maya, Dempsey." Nikolai says, "Spasibo, spasibo." Richtofen replies, "Well, I trust we shall find more of these beasts for the rest of us." And then a character called the Shadowsmith Firefly says, "Do you hear it? Calling to you. Listen. Remember, feel, restore. A weaver of the fabric of this place from the memories it contains. I have always been here. I am a Shadowsmith. You have what was taken. The bonds that imprison me are undone. We are both free. We shall meet again when fate demands." So, storyline-wise, this is about as interesting as you can get because it gives us a load of answers that we currently have that, well, weren't going to be told to us until we actually saw the ending cutscene in-game for ourselves in a month's time, just over. So from this leaked cutscene dialogue, we now know a lot of storyline stuff, but at the same time, it leaves us with a lot more questions. Who is this Entity? According to Twitter, I haven't heard this for myself, but there is also leaked audio along with this, where you can actually hear these characters talk. There's not just the transcript. Again, I haven't heard this for myself personally, so I couldn't confirm it, but according to the people that have, the Entity doesn't sound like the one from Modern Warfare Zombies, the one that was a reflection of Ava. Yet, that is the only character that is directly being called the Entity that we know of. You could say, yes, there are plenty of entities within the Dark Ether. True, the Entity doesn't have to be a single person, it could be anyone, but if you're familiar with the zombie storyline, that would be the first one that comes to your mind. However, since this game takes place in 1991, Ava wouldn't have been born yet. That was in 1993. So the entity, which is a Dark Aether reflection of her, also shouldn't have been born as well. So this is not the entity we know from Modern Warfare 3. It is kind of suspicious. I might just be totally off the mark here. How right down the bottom, we all of a sudden get a new character introduced to us called the Shadowsmith Firefly. It kind of sounds to me that the entity is the Shadowsmith Firefly, but their identity is hidden, at least in the subtitles, until right at the end of the cutscene. They don't reveal who they are until the end, where they say, I have always been here, I am a Shadowsmith. So could it just be that the entity is the Shadowsmith Firefly? That seems like a possibility. We also get the name confirmed for this guy. He is the Warden. The entity says, the Warden of this place sensed it. He sought you, tore you from your dimensions, and drained you to take that essence for himself. That's what we see this person do in the intro cutscene. So it confirms that this is the Warden of the Dark Aether, not to get confused with the Warden of Alcatraz or Brutus. I'm pretty sure this is not him. It just so happens this person is also referred to as the Warden as well. Just not the Warden of Alcatraz, he is the Warden of the Dark Aether, I would assume. Although it is weird how out of all of the names Treyarch could have picked for him, they choose to call him that, knowing it would probably confuse people. Another thing that is worth pointing out is right at the end, the Shadowsmith Firefly speaks another language. Now, initially when I first saw this, I thought, hang on, is this Apothicon? Because they had their own weird language. I don't claim to be an expert on their language. Looking at it, I couldn't really see any similarities, but I haven't gone that deep into it. We are told, though, that the Shadowsmiths are ancient denizens of the Dark Aether. There is only one denizen we know, these little bastards from Transit. But in this instance, they're referring to ancient beings or creatures that used to live in the Dark Aether. Well, we know at one point in time the Apothicons were denizens of the Dark Aether. And also, taking it all the way back to Vanguard Zombies, we were told in that storyline the Construct, which was a very powerful monolith in the Dark Aether that could grant you basically ultimate power, was worshipped by the Dark Aether's first denizens. However, we never actually found out what the Dark Aether's first denizens were. It wasn't Cortifex and those elder gods, leaving me believing they may be the Apothicons or some brand new entities that we've never heard of before. But that would make sense. If this is Apothicon language right here, then the Shadowsmiths, being some kind of evolution of the Apothicons, would be interesting. At the same time, it cannot be, because we are straight up told by the Shadowsmith that it has always been here, which could make you think the Shadowsmiths have always been Shadowsmiths. These are the Dark Aether's first denizens, whatever they are. We all thought this in the Modern Warfare 3 intro, this shadow figure in the mirror was a Shadowsmith, but knowing what we do now, it seems to me this was actually the Warden, and well, it was staring us right in the eyes. He's literally wearing a hat just like him. And these in the cages, these heads, are actually the Shadowsmiths, at least some of them, because there is a quote here where Richtofen says, "You will forgive me if I do not drop everything to do the bidding of a gigantic floating head." The floating head being the entity, which is the Shadowsmith. And that confirms then the Warden is not a Shadowsmith, because it is the Shadowsmiths that are bound to his will, augmenting his power. The Warden forced the Shadowsmiths to harness the essence of our zombies characters, to refine it into the colostrum that sustains him, going on to say these beings cannot be killed. So that confirms the Shadowsmiths are beings that can't die, but we can destroy their bonds with the Warden, which would free them from his control. Another thing that I think is confirmed is the next Zombies map, DLC 1. We already have an inkling of where we're going and what we're going to be doing. I'm pretty sure we've been told by other leaks that we are going to the worlds that Richtofen, Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey are from. So a post-World War II New York, Vietnam, Afghanistan, and in Takeo's case, Japan. And way back in November, December time of last year, we were told one of the DLC maps Treyarch were considering for BO7 Zombies was set in Japan at a temple beneath an erupting volcano. And this dialogue says, if she says we're going to chuck a necklace into a volcano, I'm so out. So could this be a clue that the map set in a Japanese temple below an erupting volcano is true? And that's where we're going to chuck a necklace into it. What this necklace is, I don't know. I'm assuming that's part of the context for this leaked cutscene. There is, of course, a lot that has happened before this that we are missing, which would be helpful, but that may well confirm what DLC 1 is going to be. Also, something else I thought of, the entity says to them, It is not safe to linger here. He will know his pet is gone. He will investigate. I have folded the dark ether, made a pocket in which you can hide. I will send you there. Is the exfil screen the pocket of the dark ether? This, when we see Dr. Monty's house and a hand below it, almost holding it up. And if you look around Monty's house, it almost looks like it's shielded, like it's in its own little bubble or pocket. In the old storyline, the whole reason why Dr. Monty's house was safe for the children was because it was in Argotha, away from the influence of the Dark Ether and the Apothicons and the zombies. However, when Dr. Monty's house was banished to the Dark Ether, it would have no longer been a safe house, because it's now in the Dark Ether surrounded by zombies. But in this image, we are being told this house that was Dr. Monty's is a safe house once again. And the only way that could happen is if it was safe from the influence of all of the evil. The zombies, the Dark Ether, everything. And we have this entity saying they have made a pocket in the Dark Ether in which we can hide. So has this entity placed Dr. Monty's house within a Dark Ether pocket that is safe from everything else around it, which would explain why Monty's house is once again a safe house. Why the entity would choose Dr. Monty's house to place into a pocket and not some other random house, I don't know, but that's food for thought as well. Other stuff that make my mind go crazy is the fact that the Sentinel artifact is being mentioned again. Carver brings it up right at the beginning. That could just be because it was what sent them into the Dark Ether in the first place, or maybe it does have some relevance again in the Easter egg for this map. But yeah, we are basically told here what we are going to be doing in Black Ops 7 Zombies, what our goal is, and what is happening. We saw the souls of Richtof and Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey get stolen by the Warden. He sought these characters out from their respective dimensions and drained them of their essence. And now that he has those parts of their souls, which kind of makes it sound like they still have half of their souls, or at least some part of it still. Either way, the Warden now has dominion over them. And what we've now got to do, since we can't fight him or we can't kill him, it seems like, is destroy the bond between him and his slaves, the Shadowsmiths, the ones who are augmenting his power, since they are bound to his will. Are these Skulls and the KG Shadowsmiths? I don't know. Either way, we are told that the Shadowsmiths cannot be killed, but if we destroy their bonds to the Warden, free them of his control, they will then return what they were made to steal, their souls. But we will first need to find where the one that watches the Dark Ether is imprisoned. So, story-wise, this is about as good as it can get, right? There is loads here. Yes, it lacks context given we can't actually visually see what's going on, but still, and that wasn't the only thing that was leaked. Nanokos also gave us a little bit of information about this device that you can find underground in the farm survival map. In the coding, it is referenced as a flesh vault, but he believes its actual name is the Prism Vault. I mean, you can literally see flesh coming from it, so the name makes sense, and he says that the wonder weapon is going to be obtained through a vault of some sort as well, so it could potentially be connected. The house that it is beneath belonged to a murderous family, so there may be some connection there as well. He also says that it looks like Mule Kick is coming to Black Ops 7 Zombies. There is a perk called Z_mod, and some of the augments seem to indicate that it's Mule Kick. Who really are these Shadowsmiths? Did they exist in the old storyline and we just never heard about them? Is that because they are some evolution of the Apothicons? Or did the Apothicons come after them? These have always been in the Dark Ether. It may help if we can figure out what that language is that the Shadowsmith Firefly is speaking. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye.